Well, no doubt it has been a rough couple of years for Ospri prior to our next guest coming on board. But there certainly is an effort to change in terms of the structure and, of course, the communication approach to not only farmers, but also community stakeholders such as regional councils. Joining us now from Wellington is Chief Executive of Ospri, Steve Stuart. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Sarah.
Hey, now there has been a bit of a rough start for you this year, and that's COVID aside. This outbreak in Hawke's Bay wasn't that enjoyable, I'm sure, for your team.
Well, not just our team. It's less enjoyable for farmers who have got TB. You know, every farm that gets TB has a big impact on the farmer, his family, and the communities. And so, you know, it's something that really worries us and something we work really hard to try and avoid.
Yes.
But when it does come, we work really hard to try and get on top of it quickly.
And of course, not only the flow-on effect to those that become under lockdown, especially over that time that compounded with M. bovis eradication and, of course, that backlog from the processes of COVID.
Yes. And so, you get a head of steam up and then COVID comes along and you've got to pull back a bit. And so then you've got to catch up again. So, you know, when you think around the Hawke's Bay, for example, they've had COVID, they've had bovis, they've got TB, they've got the drought, you know. It's almost a perfect storm. You couldn't have scripted that day any worse, really.
Excuse me. What was your biggest learnings from being physically on the ground and hearing from farmers' frustrations around where Ospri could pick up its socks?
Oh, look, the emotions are pretty raw and they come at you, really directly. It's the impact on farmers and their families, impacts on communities. Farmers felt, and probably rightly so, that we didn't act quick enough. You know, they felt a bit let down that TB had come back into an area which was once previously clear of TB. So they were pretty upset about that, and talking with them and seeing their land and seeing the impacts really does bring home to you what an important job we need to do to make sure it doesn't come back again.
There is certainly still some critics out there, rightly so, in the region of Ospri's, of course, attempt to improve. And there is a regional strategy putting extension managers on the ground. How is that going to make a difference?
Well, it's not so much the regional people on the ground so much. It's that in the past we've tried to run the country from Wellington, I think, and I don't think that's the right strategy. I think when you're trying to deliver service to your customers and your customers are your farmers, you need to be out there connecting with them and be close with them so you can be more responsive and agile and get the intelligence back from them that allows you to perform better and deliver better services. And so the strategy is around putting managers and leaders that are accountable back out in the regions that take ownership of whole regions that can deliver value and services to farmers. And as I say, I can't do that from my office here in Wellington.
Now, of course, when yourself and, of course, incoming Chair Barry Harris came into Ospri, you know, there certainly was a different place and a different culture than I'm sure that you would like to go forward. You're appointing 3 regional managers. How much of it is just a restructure internally or bringing in new blood?
Oh, look, we're appointing general managers that are going to be based in the regions. And there's a really good reason for that. And that is that the general managers in the regions sit on the senior leadership team of Ospri and therefore bring a national and regional perspective to their work. Right? What we were looking for is leaders that collaborate, that build relationships, and that can connect with the customers that basically pay our levies to deliver services to. So it's very, very important that we have people that can do that, and that's certainly what we're looking for in the leaders in the regions.
And of course, farmers will be looking to see some tangible impact from their levy money. What will they physically notice apart from, more people driving around in branded up Ospri trucks?
Well, I mean, what we're trying to do is so farmers have a range of compliance obligations. They have, we need to educate them and support them to get things right. So. In the example of traceability, for example, yes, it can be a bit of a clunky system and it can be a little bit difficult. And our role is to educate and work with farmers to enable them to get their traceability systems right and to make sure they're recording their animal movements, etc. So what you'd like to see is more presence for when people ask for help, more responsive Ospri when people do ask for help. But also, better connections with not just farmers, but with the likes of regional and district councils and city councils for example, also foresters, and other people, DOC and other agencies that all do some sort of pest control. We should be joining up with them to deliver coordinated services to farmers, and that's what I hope we'll sort of start to punch into and start to take some ownership of.
Okay, and of course, while we've got you here, TB is one thing, but of course the uptake of NATE compliance. We had a great catch up with Kevin Ford, the head of NATE, and what a great appointment having somebody heading up that. But are you, when you were last, it's probably, am I guessing, 14 to 18 months since you've come into the role there, Steve, noticed a tangible difference in change and uptake in some of those changes you've made?
Yes, look, I mean, NATE is important. I think it's a tool. I think anything COVID has taught us is that traceability tools are important for managing diseases, and there's a lot of parallels to human disease and animal diseases. But the point about NATE is, and Ospri, is that we don't do it by ourselves. We work with MPI, for example. We work through our shareholders channels. We work with a whole range of people to support farmers to get their NATE accounts right. And so part of us going into the regions is to sort of amplify and accelerate that process so that farmers can get on top of their NATE accounts quickly, and we have, what we hope will be, and I'm sure will be in time, a world-class traceability system. And
I know that our viewers will be wanting to keep writing to find out where the development continues with the EASD forms and where we are with that technology. What can you update us on today?
Yeah, so the idea of the NATE system is to incorporate EASD into the ultimate NATE system. So you have an end-to-end recording system, and remove duplication and remove different systems and bring them together so you have an end-to-end system. So we are now building an EASD, which we will integrate into the broader NATE system to deliver that end-to-end solution. So that's a good thing. And, again, during COVID, when people were reluctant to use documents, electronic documents came into their own, and we hope to ride on the back of that.
And now, just lastly, on behaviour change in terms of a carrot versus stick approach, how much work are you doing with regards to the importance of traceability through blockchain technology, market access, and some of these supply chain agreements and accreditation programs with our processors who want that absolute depth of traceability?
Well, look, New Zealand has, as you know, has a fantastic brand and reputation overseas, and people trust that we have good systems in behind it. And traceability is one of those systems that give international markets confidence that they know where their products are coming from, it's world-class products. And we want to play into that space. And absolutely, we think, international markets value things like good traceability, and that's where NATE comes into its own.
Absolutely, and I can't wait for that day where it doesn't become another box-ticking exercise, that there is an incentive-driven appetite from farmers to ensure that we have the world-class traceability standards. Steve, I wish you all the best with your general managers on the ground, and I ask farmers to support Ospri's move to be closer and better at communicating with its stakeholders on the ground. Anything is a positive in the right direction from where we've come from with this particular organisation. So thank you so much for your time. Chief Executive of Ospri, Steve Stuart, joining the...
This is Sarah's Country.